All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm so excited about this deep dive because honestly, this blog post, it really just hit me hard when I first read it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Don't Argue with Donkeys. It's by Ira Warren Whiteside. He's the information Sherpa, according to his blog.
Catchy title.
Yeah, and well, the whole thing is about basically, well, how to avoid those arguments that just go nowhere. You know the ones I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, I think we've all been there.
Exactly. So anyway, in the post, Whiteside starts off with this fable,
Yeah.
and well, let me just tell you about it.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Okay, so there's this donkey and a tiger,
Okay, classic setup.
right? And they get into this huge argument about the color of grass.
Okay, wait, hold on. What color does the donkey think grass is?
Blue.
Blue grass.
I know, right? So the tiger's like, no, it's green, obviously, but the donkey just won't budge.
Sounds familiar.
Right. So they decide to take their argument to the lion, the king of the jungle, to settle it once and for all.
The lion's gonna have a field day with this one.
Right? You'd think so. But here's the twist. The lion actually sides with the donkey.
What? No way.
I know.
I know.
And to make matters even weirder, he sentences the tiger to 5 years of silence for arguing.
5 years. That's harsh for arguing about grass.
I know, it seems crazy, right?
Or-
But that's where the real lesson comes in. Whiteside explains that the lion wasn't actually concerned with the color of grass at all. It was all about teaching the tiger a lesson.
Don't argue with donkeys.
Exactly. Don't waste your time arguing with someone who's just completely unreasonable, someone who's so stuck in their own beliefs that they refuse to even consider the facts. Kind of like, what was that line from the Post? Something about ignorance and intelligence.
Oh, yeah. He said something like, ignorance screaming while intelligence is silent.
Yes, that's the one. So powerful, right? It really resonated with me.
Yeah, I can see why. But, thinking about it, this whole idea brings up an interesting question. Should we always stay silent?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is there never a time for a good debate?
Right, because sometimes those back and forth conversations, even disagreements, they can be really productive. Like iron sharpens iron, right?
Literally. They can help you think through your own position, maybe even learn something new.
Exactly. When you have to articulate your ideas clearly, defend your perspective, and really listen to the other side, it can actually strengthen your own understanding of the topic. And you might even persuade someone who's on the fence.
Oh, yeah, like maybe they haven't heard all the facts or considered a different angle. A good debate can open their minds a bit.
Exactly. And sometimes it's not even about changing anyone's mind. Sometimes it's about standing up for what you believe in, for important principles, even when you know you're probably not going to win the argument.
Yeah, I get that. Like sometimes it's more about taking a stand, letting your voice be heard than about winning the debate, right?
Exactly. But the trick is, the real challenge, I think, is figuring out when to engage and when to just walk away.
Right. How to pick your battles.
Exactly. To know when you're dealing with a donkey and when it's just not worth the energy. Like that time, it's not really a good story. Never mind. I think we've all been there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I remember the one time, well, we probably don't have time for that. Have you ever been stuck in one of those arguments where you just knew it was going nowhere no matter what you said?
Oh, so many times. It's like
Yeah.
you're trying to have a real discussion, present facts, logic, but the other person just won't budge. They're not listening, and you're just hitting your head against a wall. Or maybe, talking to a donkey.
That's exactly how it feels, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Whiteside actually addresses this in the Post, too. He says, the worst waste of time is arguing with the fool and fanatic who does not care about truth or reality, but only the victory of his beliefs and illusions.
Oof. That is so spot on. That's the kind of person who just wants to hear themselves talk. They're not really interested in learning and understanding. They just want to be right.
No matter what, right? So the question is, how do we spot those donkeys before we get sucked into an argument with them?
Right, that's the million-dollar question. I think it starts with paying attention. Paying
Mhm.
attention to the other person's body language, their tone of voice, those subtle cues.
What kind of cues?
Well, for example, are they actually listening to you? Are they making eye contact? Are they, asking questions, trying to understand your perspective? Or are they just waiting for their turn to speak, to interrupt?
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Like, are they actually engaged in the conversation or are they just trying to win a debate?
Exactly. And also, pay attention to their tone. Are they being respectful, even if they disagree with you? Or are they getting defensive, angry, dismissive?
Yeah, those are all good signs.
Yeah, those are red flags. And once you start noticing those patterns, it becomes a lot easier to decide, okay, is this a conversation worth having? Or is it time to politely excuse myself and save my energy?
So you're saying it's not about being afraid to argue or anything, it's about being strategic.
Exactly. It's about choosing your battles wisely, recognizing that sometimes walking away is actually the smarter move, the more mature move. It doesn't mean you're giving up or that you're wrong. It just means you're respecting yourself, you're respecting your time and energy.
Right, like sometimes peace and quiet is just more valuable.
Exactly. You know, it's funny, this whole conversation, it reminds me of this one time. Well, maybe another time.
Maybe next deep dive.
Uh-huh.
So as we wrap up here, I think the big takeaway for me is, well, recognizing those unproductive arguments and knowing how to avoid them is a skill.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a valuable one, wouldn't you say?
For sure. It can save you so much stress and frustration and honestly just make your life a little bit more peaceful.
Totally. And you know, here's a question to think about. As you go about your day, your week, just kind of notice what are the situations or maybe even the types of people that tend to trigger those unproductive arguments for you. You know, those donkey encounters. What are those patterns?
That's good. And once you recognize those patterns, what can you do to handle them better? To maybe even avoid them altogether. So much to think about, huh?
Definitely. And that's the beauty of it, right? We're always learning, always growing, and hopefully getting a little bit better at choosing our battles along the way.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive, but thanks for listening. And be sure to tune in next time for more, well, deep dives. See you then.